Good morning students, this is C. Aditya. Please like, share and subscribe to my YouTube channel for more classes relating to the CA final auditing. Okay students, and also join my Telegram channel which I am going to provide in the description box. And if you have any doubts, please provide them in the Telegram channel so that I can reply you and solve the doubts. Okay students, in the current video or in the current class we are going to provide professional ethics chapter discussion. So what I am going to tell you is that professional ethics classes are provided separately from the daily classes provided to you. Okay students, professional ethics classes are provided separately from the regular classes provided to you, and professional ethics class is very important for you because at least 10 marks will be coming for you in the examination of CA final auditing. Okay students, 8 marks will be from theory and 2 marks will be from MCQ students. So students, please carefully listen to this chapter and you can get exactly 10 marks if you have concentrated on this chapter. Okay students, let's start the video. Okay students, chapter number 1, professional ethics. Okay students, the term ethics means moral principles which governs a person's behavior or the conduct of an activity. See students, ethics means moral principles which governs a person's behavior. Ethics is related to a person's behavior, whereas professional ethics deals with persons, organization and corporate standards of behavior expected by profession. See students, ethics means which deals with person's behavior, whereas professional ethics deals with persons, organizations and corporate standards of behavior. Okay students, for example, a doctor lies to a patient about the serious condition of a health. Okay students, a doctor lies to the patient about the serious condition of his health, thinking that disclosing the seriousness of health may cause more distress to the patient. This would be morally wrong as the doctor is hiding imperative from the patient. However, here improvement in health is given moral priority and hence it is justifiable to contravene other morals. See, in the doctor's profession, telling lies that there is no serious condition to the patient is a immoral thing, but the doctor has acted in a professional ethics manner which deals that he is telling to the patient that he is very exactly he is all right so that he will be in a good condition. See students, however, her improvement in health is given moral priority and hence it is justifiable to contravene other morals. Okay students, see, chartered accountancy as a profession are engaged in building trust to various varieties of users. See students, chartered accountancy profession will provide a trust to various users of whether shareholders, government, banks, investors, employees and others who will impose a public interest responsibility on their profession. See students, chartered accountancy profession has a very trust by the shareholders, government, investors, employees and others. So like other profession, chartered accountancy profession should also consist of code of ethics. Okay students, like other profession, chartered accountancy also have some set of code of ethics. These code of ethics establishes ethical requirements for professional accountants. Okay students, these code of ethics establishes requirements for professional accountants. A chartered accountant either in practice or in service has to follow the ethical behavior. See students, EBIT means follow. A chartered accountant either in practice or in service has to be followed by this ethical behavior. They are expected to follow the fundamental principles of professional ethics. They are expected to follow the fundamental principles of professional ethics. Fundamental principles of professional ethics means integrity, objectivity, professional competence and due care, professional behavior and confidentiality. Okay students, while performing their duty they are to follow fundamental principles of professional ethics. service users of profession should be able to feel secure that there exists framework of professional ethics while governing the provisions of the service. See students, a practicing chartered accountant has to follow fundamental principles of professional ethics. But in the case of service users of profession, there have to be secured. When there will be secured? There will be secured only when there are following the professional ethics. See students, in the service industry, there will be able to feel secure when they follow the professional ethics which governs the provisions of their services. Any deviation, see students, any deviation from the ethical responsibility brings disciplinary action against the chartered accountant. See students, when the ethical requirements are not followed by the chartered accountant, then a disciplinary action will be taken upon him. Okay students. See, code of ethics are old as human civilization. It is nothing but laws or rules of acceptable behavior. The whole foundation of any profession, particularly chartered accountancy, is its credibility. Is its credibility means professional, that is a chartered accountancy is its credibility. Credibility means reliability. A chartered accountancy report will have a much credibility, that is reliability. Most of the users will have rely on the audit report. Okay students, the sole purpose of code of ethics is to ensure and uphold this credibility. See students, a chartered accountancy when following the code of ethics will uphold his credibility, that is his reliability will be increased when he follow the code of ethics. That is main. The main ingredient of our profession is independence. See, a chartered accountancy while performing his duties should be independent. Okay students, an auditor needs to be independent while carrying out his audit. Okay students, our motive, our institute motto is Ya Yeshu Sukteshu Jagruti, is adapted from Kathopanishad. It denotes external vigilance, awaking when the world is asleep. See students, when the world is also, when the entire world, the people are sleeping, but we, the chartered accountants and an auditor, should be awake. That is what is provided in this sentence students. We have to awake and see the whether the financial statements or the internal controls, whether there are any frauds or errors happening. That is what is provided about this sentence. What are general applicabilities of the code? A professional accountant's responsibility is not exclusive to satisfy. See students, a professional accountant is not only required to satisfy the clients or employer, but also required to act in public interest. A professional accountant should observe and comply with the ethical requirements of the code. Okay students. See, it is not much important, so I am skipping this topic. See, fundamental principles to be followed by the accountant. It is important students. See, let's see this topic. Fundamental principles to be followed by an accountant. It is the important topic for CA final examination. Okay. Fundamental principles, section 100. See students, integrity. A chartered accountant should be straightforward, honesty in performing his all duties. But students, in integrity, a chartered accountant should be honesty and straightforward in performing all his duties. Objective, a professional, a chartered accountant should not be subordinate, conflict, bias, or undue influence of others. He should not be influenced by other person who might have engaged him in or on his own interest. A professional accountant should not compromise professional or business judgment because of bias, conflict of interest, or undue influence of others. Okay students, next, professional competence and due care. In the case of professional competence and due care, see students, in the case of professional competence and due care, it deals about up to date. A chartered accountant should be up to date regarding the profession, and he should plan and perform the audit with utmost care and skill in an efficient and effective manner. That is what provided in this sentence. See students, a professional accountant should perform professional services with due care, competence and diligence, and has to continuing duty to maintain professional skill and knowledge at required to ensure that clients or employee receive the advantage of competent professional services based on up-to-date development in practices. See students, up-to-date, that is development in the profession. What is development in the profession? The chartered accountant, that is the auditor, should be up-to-date regarding the professional skill and knowledge. That is what provided in this sentence, students. See, confidentiality. Confidentiality means the auditor obtained information during his engagement. During the audit engagement, he has obtained some information and it should not be disclosed to any person unless it is required by law or taken permission from the client. Okay, students. Professional behavior. What is professional behavior? A chartered accountant should not bring any discredit to the profession of chartered accountancy, either in his personal life or in his professional life. Okay, students, that is what the fundamental principles. Very important, students. Please read at least 5 times or 10 times. Compliance with the fundamental principles, section 110. A professional accountant shall comply with each of the fundamental principles. See students, a chartered accountant should comply with all the 5 fundamental principles. The fundamental principles of ethics establishes the standard of behavior. See students, the fundamental principles will provide a behavioral aspects to the chartered accountant. How a chartered accountant should be will be provided by the fundamental principles. The chartered accountant should have these fundamental principles while acting in an audit, while involving in an audit. Okay, students. The conceptual framework establishes the approach which an accountant is required to apply to assist in complying with this. See students, the conceptual framework will provide, that is will apply. When a chartered accountant is required to follow the fundamental principles, these conceptual framework will be used by the auditor for the purpose of applying those fundamental principles. For fundamental principles to apply, the auditor will use the conceptual framework in the audit for the purpose of fundamental principles. Okay, students, the conceptual framework establishes that approach which an accountant is required to apply to assist in complying with the fundamental principles. Okay, students, a professional accountant might face a situation in which complying with one fundamental principles conflicts with other fundamental principles. In such a situation, the accountant might consider consulting with, see students, when there is a conflict of one fundamental principles with the other fundamental principles, then in situation the chartered accountant may consult with others within the firm or employing organization. What is employing organization? That is an employee where joining with an employer, then it is an employing organization, that is a company. Those charged with governance. See students, the chartered accountant, when there is a conflict between 2 fundamental principles, then he should consult with others within the firm or employing organization, those charged with governance, and institute or legal counsel. Okay, students, legal counsel. However, such consultation does not relieve the professional accountants from the responsibility to exercise professional judgment to resolve the conflict. See students, by consulting, it will not relieve the chartered accountants from responsibility to exercise the professional judgment to resolve the conflict. That is to resolve the conflict on in consulting with those charged with governance or others within the firm, and the legal counsel will not relieve the chartered accountant by exercising the professional judgment to resolve the conflict. Okay, students, what is meant by integrity? Integrity means straightforwardness. An auditor should be straightforward and honesty while performing his duties in an audit. See students, a professional chartered accountant should comply with the principles of integrity, which requires an accountant to be straightforward and honesty in all his professional and business relationship. Integrity implies fair dealing and truthfulness. Okay, students, integrity implies fair dealing and truthfulness. A professional accountant shall not knowingly be associated with See students, a chartered accountant knowingly should not associated in the below information containing material or misleading statements, information provided negligently, or information consists of omission or obscurity. See students, a chartered accountant should not associated when there is a misleading statement or negligent information provided, or where there is a misleading due to omission or obscurity. In such cases, the auditor should not associated, that is, he should not report or he should not join the audit. Okay students, if a professional accountant provides a modified report in respect of such report, written communication or other information, the accountant will not be considered to be breach of matters referred above. See students, when the auditor, that is the chartered accountant, has associated with the above information, normally a professional accountant, that is a chartered accountant, should not associated with the above three information. But if he associate and is provided modification of report, then it will not be a breach of matters. Where a professional accountant becomes aware of having been associated with the above description, the accountant shall take steps to disassociate from that information. See students, when a chartered accountant has been associated with above three information, that is material false or misleading information, or negligent information, or omission or obscurity, which would be misleading. If he is associated with these above three things and has been aware of it, then he should take reasonable step to disassociated from that information. What is meant by objectivity? Objectivity means biased, influenced, or undue influenced by others, or conflict of interest. See students, a chartered accountant shall comply with the principles of objectivity, which requires an accountant not to compromise professional or business decision because of bias, conflict of interest, or undue influence of others. Okay students, what is meant by professional competence and due care? A professional accountant shall comply with the principles of professional competence and due care, which requires an accountant to attain and maintain professional knowledge and skills at the level reached to ensure that a client or employing organization receives competent professional skill based on current technical and professional standards and relevant legislatory. See students, a chartered accountant while performing his duty in the client or in the employing organization has to attain and maintain the competence, that is, he should have minimum skill and knowledge for the doing of work, for doing the work of the client. Okay students, act diligently and in accordance with the professional, technical and professional standards. Okay students, serving clients and employing organization with professional competence requires the exercise of sound judgment. See students, a chartered accountant while performing his duties in the client or employing organization should have minimum skill and knowledge and use his professional judgment while using those professional skills and professional knowledge. Okay students, next, confidentiality. An auditor and chartered accountant in the employment or in the practice should always follow confidentiality. See students, confidentiality means a chartered accountant in practice or in employment should not disclose any information acquired by him from the client or employing organization should not be disclosed unless it is required by law or taken permission from the client. A professional accountant shall comply with the principles of confidentiality, which requires an accountant to respect the confidentiality. See students, respect. A chartered accountant should respect the principles of confidentiality of information acquired. Okay students, a chartered accountant should respect the confidentiality of information acquired during his employment or client information. Be alert to the possibility of inadvertent disclosure, including in social advertisement and partial to close business associate. A chartered accountant should not disclose any information unless to any person who is a close relative of the client business, or you should not provide the information to the close family members also. You should maintain confidentiality of information within the firm or employing organization. You should maintain the confidentiality information, that is the information acquired by him from the client or employing organization should be confidential, that is it should be within the client office or employing the firm. C. Maintaining confidentiality of information disclosed by the prospective client or employing organization. Not to disclose confidentiality information acquired as a result of professional and employment relationship outside the firm or employing organization without proper or specific authority, unless there is a legal or professional duty to disclose. Not disclose confidential information resulted as a result of professional and outside the firm. A chartered accountant should not disclose any information unless required by law, that is provided here. Not to use confidential information acquired as a result of professional and employment relationship for the personal advantage. See students, a chartered accountant should not use confidentiality information acquired by him from the profession and employment for his personal advantage. Not use or disclose any confidentiality information either acquired or received as a result of profession or employment after that ends. See students, a chartered accountant after the performance of his audit should not disclose after the end of his employment in that organization should not disclose the information, that is what provided here. Not to disclose any information after that relationship has ended, that is the employment relationship has been ended, or the employment, that is the client organization has given the audit report by the auditor, then there is a close of audit. At that situation, the auditor shall not disclose the confidentiality information. Take reasonable steps to ensure that personnel under the accountant control and individuals from whom advice and assistance are obtained. See students, a chartered accountant will take a expert opinion or register valuer opinion, so that he should also take steps that the register valuer or the expert from whom he has been taking the information, maintain them also the confidentiality information, that is the expert and register value also should maintain the confidentiality information provided by the professional accountant. Circumstances where disclosing is appropriate, disclosure is required by law. Example, providing of documents or other provisions evidence in the court of legal proceedings, disclosing to the appropriate public authority, infringement of law. Okay students, disclosing there is a professional duty or right to disclose when not prohibited by law. Read this students, very important. See, professional behavior. What is professional behavior? What the topic, what this whole sentence is saying, that a chartered accountant in profession, should not bring any discredit to the profession of chartered accountancy, either in his personal behavior or in the professional work. A chartered accountant shall comply with the principles of professional behavior, which requires an accountant to comply with the laws and regulations. A chartered accountant not knowingly engaged in employment activity that may impair the objectivity. See students, a chartered accountant should not knowingly associated with any organization or client which impairs the integrity, objectivity or good reputation of the profession. In such case, the auditor shall not accept the engagement or not showing with that employing organization. Okay students, next. It is not important students. See, threats and safeguard. It is more important students. Threats and safeguard is more important. Okay. Threats. Wait students, take a break.